What's up, Yarny Box crocheters? Today we're crocheting Bianca the Bunny. In your Yarny Box kit, you'll find that the magic ring is already started for you. This is so that we can start off the project nice and easy and you don't have to worry about a complicated beginning. This is the very first round of the project. Here you'll see I'm pointing out the little V's. These are actually stitches, so you should be able to go around the circle and count 6 stitches or 6 V's. The stitches are what you're going to be working into in the next round in order to build on your project. You'll also find 2 stitch markers. This blue one here is marking the very first stitch of the round. That's where we're going to place the first stitch of the next round. The green stitch marker is marking the loop in which you're going to place your crochet hook to start working. You can see here that you can actually tighten and loosen this loop by pulling on the string that's attached to the ball of yarn. There are 2 different ways in which you can hold your crochet hook. This first way is like a knife. The second way is like a pencil. I personally find the pencil hold a little bit easier, but it's up to you. You can play around and hold your crochet hook however you'd like. Next, you're going to take the yarn that's attached to the ball of yarn and wrap it a couple times around your finger. And then I like to pinch the magic ring with my middle finger and thumb like this. Again, this is just how I like to work on my projects, but as you go along, you can play with how you want to hold everything. So you can remove the green stitch marker and pop in your crochet hook into that loop. You're going to want to tighten the loop to make it so that it's pretty tight on the crochet hook. Don't make it so tight that you can't move the crochet hook, but you definitely don't want it to be too loose. Something like this is appropriate. The trickiest part about learning how to crochet is learning how to hold everything in your hands. I definitely recommend rewatching the beginning of this video until you get the hang of holding everything. And if you accidentally undo your magic ring, I have a tutorial linked down below of how to redo that. So let's get started on round 2. We're going to start off by removing the blue stitch marker. You can pull on it a little bit and you'll find a little hole. That's exactly where we're going to be inserting our hook into to make the very first stitch of round 2. So once you pop out your stitch marker, you're going to insert your hook exactly where the stitch marker was. Before we insert a hook, I just want to make sure that you're holding your hook properly. So you want to make sure it's parallel to your body and make sure the hook is facing downwards. That's going to make it a lot easier to guide the yarn in and out of each stitch. So pop your hook into the stitch. Again, it looks like a V, so now you should have 3 little loops on your hook. Next, we are going to yarn over, which means we're grabbing the yarn with our crochet hook like this. And we are gliding the yarn through the first 2 little loops on our hook like so. And now we're going to do that again. So yarn over and pull the yarn through the 2 loops on your hook. This is called a single crochet. This is the first stitch of the round. Our next stitch is going in the exact same stitch that we were just in. So this stitch and not this stitch. We're going in the same hole that we were just in. So insert your hook into that little V, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops like so. Now you have 2 loops left on your hook, so yarn over and pull through those 2 remaining loops. What we just did is called an increase because we popped 2 stitches into 1 stitch. Now you're going to count down 2 stitches away from the loop or the first stitch that we made, and you're going to mark it with a stitch marker. Next, we're going to make another single crochet in the next available stitch. So that's going to be this one here. Pop in your hook. There's 3 loops on your hook now. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. And then yarn over again and pull through those second 2 loops. That was 1 single crochet. Now we're going to make our second single crochet in the same exact hole. So in the same place we just were, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through the second 2 loops. Again, this is called an increase because we placed 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. So now we have 4 new stitches, but we've only worked into 2 stitches from the previous round. So here I'm just pointing out with my thumb the 4 new stitches that we've done. Carrying on to the next stitch, we are going to make a single crochet. And now we're going to make a second single crochet in the exact same hole. Moving on to the next stitch. Again, here's your first single crochet, and here's your second single crochet in the same stitch. Again, popping your first single crochet in there and your second single crochet. And now we're moving on to the very last stitch of the round. 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. That completes round 2. So because we placed 2 single crochets in each of the stitches of the previous round, we now have 12 little V's or 12 stitches in this round. So you should be able to go around and count 12 stitches. Your project should be looking something like this, and we can move on to round 3, so remove your stitch marker. In round 3, we are increasing in only every other stitch around the circle. So go ahead and place your first single crochet of the round in the next available stitch and mark that stitch. So we made a single crochet here. The next stitch will be an increase, and then a single crochet, and then increase. So moving into the next stitch, this one here, we are placing an increase, or that is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Next, we will be moving into a single crochet and then increase in the next stitch. Single crochet, increase. Single crochet, increase. Single crochet, increase. Single crochet, and last increase of the round. So here we went from 12 stitches up to 18 stitches. So you should be able to go around the circle and count 18 stitches or 18 V's. Moving on to round 4, remove your stitch marker and place your first single crochet of the round and then mark that stitch. In round 4, we are increasing in every third stitch around. So in the next available stitch, we will be placing single crochet and then increase in the third stitch. So make your next single crochet and then make an increase in this stitch. Single crochet, increase is the pattern. So making our single crochet, our second single crochet, and then an increase in that third stitch. Single crochet, increase. Again, single crochet, single crochet, and increase. Just keep repeating this pattern until you get back to the stitch marker. So coming up on the last increase of the round here, we should now have 24 stitches in our circle. So if you want to go around and count, there should be 24. And to move on to the next round, we can remove our stitch marker, place your first single crochet of the round, and then mark that stitch. This round is our last round of increasing. So we're going to do another single crochet, another single crochet, and then an increase here. So single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, increase. That's the pattern of this round. And just keep repeating the pattern of increasing in every fourth stitch until you get back to the stitch marker. By the end of this round, we will have 30 single crochets in our magic ring. We're coming up on the last increase of the round. And now we have completed round 5. You should be able to go around and count 30 stitches in this round. Before we move on, we are going to weave in this tail end here. So that means that we are going to grab our yarn needle from the Yarny Box kit and pop the thread onto the needle. All we're going to be doing is weaving this tail in and out of random stitches in the bottom here. Only do about 1 stitch apart every time you go back and forth, and that's just going to secure in our end and make sure that the middle circle doesn't come unraveled. I like to do this 5 to 7 times, just depending on how secure I like it to feel. And that's going to make sure that circle stays nice and tight. So for the next 10 rounds, we are going to be doing 1 single crochet in each one of these stitches all the way around the circle. So for the next 10 rounds, we're doing the same thing. So here I'm going to show you how to count your rounds. This is round 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can see they kind of look like little horizontal lines that are divided by tiny little holes. So if you do get lost along the way, you can go ahead and count your rounds that way. We're going to do the first round together, and then I will show you what to do after that. So place your first single crochet of round 6, and of course mark that stitch. And now all we're doing is placing 1 single crochet in every single stitch around the circle. We're still going to have 30 stitches at the end of this round. So we are no longer increasing. So coming up on the last few stitches of round 6. And again, you should be able to go around the circle and still count just 30 stitches. So for the next 9 rounds, we are doing the exact same thing as round 6. So I'm going to speed up this part of the video, but again, all we're doing is making 1 single crochet in every single stitch around the circle, ending with a total of 30 stitches at the end of each round. If you happen to lose track of where you are, you should be able to count up until round 15, and that will be 9 rounds from now. So go ahead and do your 9 rounds, and I'll meet you when we're done. So we're coming up on the last few stitches of round 15. And now we're going to pause and add the safety eyes onto our bunny. So your bunny should be looking something like this, and then you can grab your eyeballs from your Yarny Box kit. Grab one of the black parts, and we're going to be placing it on the opposite side of our stitch marker, and count down 8 rounds from the top of the bunny. So between rounds 8 and 9 is where we're going to be popping in the black parts of the eyes. And I like to make mine about 3 stitches apart. As you can see, that's probably about an inch or so. You can kind of play around with where you want the eyes to be. I like to keep mine fairly close together. And it just makes sure they're centered with the back of the bunny, which is where the stitch marker is. So as you can see, that's about 3 stitches apart. And then you're just going to pop on the backs of the safety eyes. Once you have your eyeballs in, we can continue on with the rest of the body. We're moving on to round 16, so remove your stitch marker and place your first single crochet of the round. And then of course mark that stitch. Next we are going to place a single crochet in the next stitch and a single crochet in the next. Now we are going to combine 2 stitches into 1 stitch, which is also called a decrease. So we're turning 2 stitches into 1 stitch. You can see here there's a back and a front loop of every stitch, back, front. We are going to be using the front loop only for this decrease of the next 2 stitches. So what I mean by that is to insert your hook and then pop your hook into the front loop only of the next stitch and the front loop only of the stitch after that as well. So you should have 3 loops on your hook and you should be able to see the back loops of the stitches there. And then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. Now we're going to make a decrease. So insert your hook in the front loop only of the next 2 stitches. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and decrease. Single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and decrease. Just keep following this pattern until you get back to the stitch marker. We're going to have 24 stitches at the end of this round. So we're coming up on the last decrease of the round. And now you should have 24 stitches, and you can see the body is going inwards a little bit. We are almost done with the bunny's body, so we are moving on to round 17. Remove your stitch marker, place your first single crochet of the round, and then mark that stitch. Next, we're going to make a single crochet, and then decrease in the 3rd and 4th stitches. So single crochet, single crochet, and decrease. Single crochet, single crochet, and decrease. Just keep repeating that pattern until you get back to the stitch marker. Now you should have 18 stitches in your bunny. And we're going to pause and start stuffing the bunny. So grab your stuffing and pull it apart. And then just pop some into the body. Just make sure when you're stuffing your bunny to really shape out the shape of the body. So poke your fingers in there and get the head nice and stuffed. Don't overstuff it so that it stretches really wide. Just make sure you're shaping your bunny's body nicely. So just be sure not to overstuff the body. Your body should be looking something like this, and we can add more stuffing as we go along. We're on to round 18, and we can make our first single crochet of the round. And then mark that stitch. And then we're going to dive right into a decrease. Then single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease. And just keep following this pattern until you get back to the stitch marker. You're gonna have 12 stitches at the end of this round. So for the last round, we are doing a decrease for every single stitch. There's no more single crochets. So make your first decrease of the round and then mark that stitch. And just keep decreasing all the way around the circle. You're going to have 6 stitches at the end of this round, and this is our last round of the bunny as well. So now that we're all done, we're going to cut the yarn, and we can leave a tail of about 10 inches or so for sewing. And then you're just going to pull your yarn all the way through, and you can remove your stitch marker now as well. And if you want to poke some more stuffing into that body, you definitely can. Again, I'm just shaping out all the corners of the body just to make sure everything's nice and even. Once you're happy with the shape of your bunny's body, we can close up that hole. Grab your yarn needle and thread the tail with your yarn needle. And all we're doing to close the hole is inserting our needle into the front loop of every single one of these stitches around the circle. This is going to create a drawstring effect where we can just pull the hole shut. Just working our way around the circle, going through every single stitch. And then all you're doing is pulling it shut. And then you can poke your yarn needle back through the body. And I like to go a couple times like this just to weave in my end so it doesn't come undone. And then you can trim off that tail end, and the bunny's body is complete. In round 2, I'll show you how to make the ears, the bow, and assemble it all together. It's linked in the description, and I'll see you there.